Hi. Yours truly here. Trying to make sure it all works out. So anyhow, I don't know how it's gonna work. Whatever. It's working. We're live. Ideally. I am Teresa Phelps Martin. I think. Last I checked. And there's a little commotion in my life. And I don't know if there's commotion in yours, but there's commotion. And so we adjust and we readjust and we lean in. So, as I come to you via this virtual space, we get to lean in and surrender. And as we lean in and surrender, good morning to everybody who's arriving live. Good afternoon, good evening, good day. Good day, no matter how this is finding you. We have this energy of fixed fire and mutable air. So there's a little bit of a stillness, and there's the idea of leaning in is leaning into the vitality of your heart, that which sustains you. And as you lean into that vitality, that you can lean in and surrender to the greater unfolding. And leaning into the greater unfolding, it's a great dance. It's in Shaivism, we talk about spanda, and the roots of yoga, we feel the expansion and the contraction. We're in a new 20-year cycle. And for me, it is a brand new cycle of for a 19-year cycle. And it's very much aligned with when I began the journey of teaching yoga. And so that vitality, even though the offering and the relationship in which I engage with others, it's a little different. We are still in this ability to sustain that relationship and be steady in it. So if we can lean in, and then you get to fill in the blank. What are you leaning into? The encouragement at this moment is to lean into the fire of your heart, the passion of your soul, and bring it forward. Whenever you see that flame, you can almost guarantee we will do stuff oriented with the heart and the core. When you have a flame and then you see the swirl, which is air, we will really work with the heart's energy. We will work with the lower chamber and the upper chamber. So let's do this for a second. Bring your hands onto your heart. So your heart's right in your sternum. If you were graced with cleavage, sometimes it's hard to get into that area. This is your energetic heart, by the way, not your actually beating physical cardiovascular system heart. This is your anahata, and then we're actually going to talk even more to the hridaya today. And that hridaya is this point which is it within each and every single being, citizen of the planet. Okay? And it's that very point in which all things are contained. And so the hridaya sits like right where the sternum is, and that's where our diaphragm is, right? So go ahead and feel your own sternum, okay, your own breastbone, and know that the beautiful consilience, the organization of you, the evidence of you, the research of your own soul's journey, which is this life, sits in the hridaya, and the hridaya contains all things, the light and the dark. It is this point, this energetic, tiny little spot here, and then our diaphragm is here that moves up and down, right? The breath, the movement, the adaptable ability of the breath, and this mutable air rules the lungs, and so our lungs expand outward and forward and backward. Unless we are unconscious in our breath And then we tend to breathe just right here up in our sternum. And when we just get stuck and the breath up here, and we don't lean into the depth, we contain, we actually start to freeze up in the ribs and in the chest. And in that freezing up, it can throw out our back. It can cause neck and shoulder pain. My back is doing better. It's still not 100%, but it's way better. So in that ability to tap into the hridaya, and that we know there's the spanda, the dance of our vitality, the dance of our soul, the dance of our light, our essence, our energy, then we can also know that there's an expansion and a contraction. And that our heart beats, our physical heart beats, our breath moves up and down, in and out. We come into the world unable to sit up, and we usually leave the world, this planet, unable to sit up. All right, so in that ability to move and to breathe, we want to lean into the vitality and the essence of our heart. It's personal to you, so this is why you get to fill in the blank. We will do core, we will do heart openers, there will probably be some twists. And the energy of the heart is steady, it's fixed. The royalness of you, the brilliance of your light is ever present. And so we just want to dance with that light today. Here we go. I have also need to go ahead and apologize that the likelihood of being interrupted technology-wise as a mother, as just a being in this world is highly probable. Okay. So here we are. We are going to stand. We're in there's this really wild duality that we're living right now. And that duality that we're living sits in this energy of the contraction and the expansion, as above, so below. It's this intersection, though, of you and your experience. And this duality of a more esoteric realm of things ending while things are beginning. Because things are beginning before they've actually completely ended. And so we're starting these new cycles, but we're also completing a cycle. So wherever you are, call in to that of your own heart, that energy in which you want to lean into. Are you still in closure, or are you in the stepping forward? You might be in the madhya. Being so yogic today. You might be in the madhya, the space in between. The space in between of what is and what you feel and how you connect to all of that. So, I highly recommend the Varja Mudra of your fingers interlaced and your thumbs overhead. It's like a lightning bolt. We're going to feel the connection into the breath, into the back of the heart, and realize that there's this lower chamber of the heart, of the energetic, the Anahata chakra, the energetic vortex that spins within you, that goes downward, which for me, in the framework from which I teach from, this is the fire. And then the upper chamber is the air, is the energy to come alive. So standing, hands at heart center. We're going for 8 breaths. For that resilience. And just breathe in. Feel the contemplation, the bhavana, the reflection on just how the energy moves in and out, up and down, forward and back, clockwise, counterclockwise. We'll call on the highest, as always. You have agency over how you want to move, the structure of you. And that all of our offerings and our time today is of the highest, for the highest good, for all those concerned. 8 breaths, just feel that ability to breathe. want you to now just begin to expand your awareness to the space before you and behind you and to either side of you, above you and below you. And since you're watching this in a realm of your own intimate space and your own privacy where you feel safe, or at least I hope you feel safe in your home, that you can just speak out your heart's desires. And so it is. Inhale, the palms are going to turn up. Bring the hands together. Bring them right in front of the center of the forehead so we can envision. And as you're breathing, feeling the connection to that center line, arms stretch up overhead, and then you're just going to move. You're going to let your knees move, and you're just going to twist from side to side. It's a little primal interaction. You can keep the hips still, but I recommend a buoyancy, right? I recommend you feeling the connection to your core, how much the body is able to move, or how fixed it is, how stuck it is, how persistent it is, how stubborn it is. And we need this because that's what cultivates the resilience. That's what motivates us, okay? And in that movement, that you just feel the deeper layers of your core waking up, and you can feel your breath. And I may be cut off, I don't know. I give up on some level. I'm leaning into the ability to surrender and to surrender to my soul's desires, which I know is big, but I asked you to speak it out loud. So I'm just speaking it out loud, leading with vulnerability on my own terms. Come back to the center. You're going to bend your knees, draw into the belly, and your left elbow is going to come to your right knee. Big full breath in. This is a really big pose to start with. Big full breath out. Inhale, come all the way up. Stand tall. Arms go overhead. Realign. And then exhale. Knees bend. Thighs go back. Right elbow, left knee. Twisting, breathing, keeping the knees level. Core engaged. Push to the earth. Inhale, rise up. Waistline draws back. Twisting. So we're going to go to each side 4 times. Inhale, rising up. And exhaling. Feeling the duality of how both sides feel different. Move with the rhythm of your breath. And we're moving with this energy of releasing to renew right now. And leaning into what it is that you're calling forward in this cycle. What you're restructuring. Even if you feel lost. Okay, going to each side one last time. And you'll notice as I move, there's a rhythm to my movement. I'm not being super steady today. Inhale all the way up through the center. Find the length. Hands come behind the head. Shoulders to the back. Open the heart. Big full breath in. And a big full breath out. You're going to bend the knees. Pick the left foot up and shift the weight forward into warrior 3. Ground the foot down. Inhale, rise up. Warrior 1. And then exhale, hands behind the head. Step the foot forward into a chair pose. Ground down. Arms rise again, big full breath in. And then exhale, hands behind the head. Shoulders to the back. As you draw in, keep this part of the core drawing in. Anchor the hips, lift the heart. Inhaling in. Exhaling out. And then you're going to bend the knees, thighs go back, core lifts up, arms stretch out. Virabhadrasana 3, right leg goes back. God, so much gratitude that I can stand on one foot right now. Ground the heel, anchor in, rise up. So you come into that warrior 1. Keep that core, keep the energy anchored in, grounded in. And then exhale, hands come back. Step it forward like you're going into a chair. Inhale, rise up. Arms sweep up overhead. We're going to do that a couple more times. Bend the knees, hands behind the head, but feeling more rhythm to it. Full breath in. And then exhale the foot back. Rise up, warrior one. Feeling the repetition, stepping it forward, inhale, rising. So we're going to feel the repetition to feel the expansion. So the flow is steady, but we can adapt and adjust each time. And feeling, obviously, we're moving one breath per movement and enjoying that rhythm, gathering the energy of you together, feeling your strength. Maybe you even have gratitude that you can move. Falling over if you need to, right? Feeling that connection to your own groove, okay? Feeling that maybe you just want to actually come back to the flow and do it one time, but longer holds, right? Okay, last time, both sides, right? Finding your rhythm and your groove. I'm defaulting in the assumption that you found the rhythm, and if you're lost, you can look. You don't have to hear me so that I can breathe too. And once you come here, the heart being open, 8 breaths here. You can keep the hands on top of the head, or arms can go wide, or hands can clasp back behind you. Feel the power and the strength and the volume of the muscles of your back body that carry you. That connection to an energy that is much bigger than you, and leaning into that potential, that vision. And then inhale, rise all the way out. Exhale all the way down to the earth. Holy moly, first forward bend. It's gonna feel tight. Exhale, bow 8 times. Inhale, find length. Lift through the belly. Exhale, bow. Inhale, find length. Right, and then exhaling. Feeling how you can feel the expansion of the heart here, but you also feel the contraction of it. You can feel the contraction of your hamstrings and the expansion of them. Stay connected from the core. Maybe you can even sense your diaphragm lifting up as you bow down, moving down as you open up. Inhale, find length, and exhale, step back with the left foot. Bring the knee to the earth, or keep the knee lifted. I need to bring my knee to the earth. Draw in, inhale, open the heart out. Big, full breath in, full breath out. If you want to, bend the knee, go for it. You do not have to. A few more breaths here. So we feel that in the slowing down and the lunge with the thigh stretch and twist, or whatever variation thereof, that you lean in. Really the leaning in is leaning back. It's gaining a grander perspective and breathing into the depths of what's available. Exhale, free the foot. Hand to the earth. Inhale to back me up. You're going to shift the weight, right? It's almost like a ready, set, go. Front leg straightens, back knee bends. Feel connected and breathe here. I do not recommend taking your hands off the ground. You could overwork your hamstring, so just being where you need to be. And and just allow for the clearing out. And then you're going to shift the weight forward. Inhale the left leg out. And then as you exhale, 8 curtsies. Inhale. So this time we're not repeating this flow 8 times. We're just coming into a connection to that cycle of 8. Right? You probably thought I only did 3, 4, or 5. But 8 is, all numbers are powerful. As a matter of fact, my kids have been watching, so honor, breathe. Mine's kind of like Warrior 3 meets Revolved Half Moon meets Standing Split. So be in your own authentic alignment. Respect your practice. Respect your inner world. The Madhya is powerful. Bring the left foot behind the right foot. It's a little sciatic stretch and just breathe. We haven't even done downward dog yet. I am truly full of gratitude as I lean in. Really even leaning into the wounds of my truth. Inhale, lift up, unravel the foot. Exhale, bow. Inhale, find length. 8 breaths, so 6 more. Inhale, find length. Exhale, bow down. Inhale, find length. I am still honoring the vulnerability of my back, but I'm also celebrating the resilience of my whole being. And if you're like, what are you talking about? I could barely move last week. And then exhale, hands come down, right foot goes back, knee to the earth, or high lunge, it's up to you. Draw into the belly, twist, finding that strength, that connection to the core. Usually when we lean back, we disconnect, right? And through this line here, so keep the ribs in, shoulders into the back, arms stretching up. Feeling the breath, the connection, the offering, and the steady vitality. Even though there's the duality, right? Like yoga is such that it hurts so good, right? But sometimes you don't know that that tension is good for you while it's happening, unless you've been committed to the path of discovery and growth and the journey of knowing your inner world. And sometimes the emotional tidal waves or the discomfort is so extreme, it breaks us down. Hopefully on your mat though, you don't break down to that level. And the only way is when you can create the boundary of trusting in your inner self. As you exhale, free the foot. Inhale the back knee up. If it wasn't, shift, pivot, the back knee's gonna bend, right? This is a little variation of that unicorn pose. I'm not gonna make you do the unicorn. So feeling the breath, the connection, the clearance. There's still a lot of work in the core and a softening of the heart. So your heart, the energy of your heart is splitting and going in different directions. It's hugging in as it's expanding out. We're given the contrast, the pain, the challenge, the difficulty. Because honestly, the gratitude is immense. The restoration of joy is powerful, and it wouldn't be appreciated if there wasn't the contraction. As you exhale, lunge forward. Shift the weight forward, 8 curtsies, exhaling and inhaling. I might have done this out of order, so bear with me, but I'm pretty sure we did the 8 curtsies. All right, so this is the longer, steady flow where we started with the continuous adjustment of the flow, the continuous movement. So you can feel the duality in just those areas, right? Some of us love the slow and steady. And honestly, if you love the quick movement, you probably aren't doing the virtual yoga that much. Okay, here we are. You're going to come into that standing splits, whatever variation it is for you. Your brilliance comes alive by being you. And the only way you can be you is go in and get a little uncomfortable, believe it or not. Whew, man alive. This is like on pure fire for me on this side. It's just such a grounding. Exhale, bring the foot behind you. Both feet to the earth and bow forward. And 8 breaths in that sciatic stretch without the judgment, but rather just being receptive, but receptive with the boundaries. Sometimes we're so hungry to receive something that we actually are blind to all that is before us. Myself included. Exhale out completely, unravel the legs, both feet beneath you. Inhale, find length. Exhale, bow. Inhale, find length. And exhale, bow. Inhale, find length. Exhale, bow. 4 more times. Feel the dance of your breath, the stoking of the inner flame. The release, so the duality is that we're releasing and awakening and restoring all at the same time. Right? So we hold the intention, we're leaning into the desires of our heart, or we're leaning into our ability to surrender. Exhale, finally, downward facing dog. As you find your dog, you're going to pedal your feet. Move your body around. Be nice and still and steady, whatever is of service to you. For me, it's always more of an exploration of my core. Inhale, come forward into a plank, knees high or low, all the way to the earth. Oh, you're going to pillow your hands and just breathe into your heart. I'm not going to say anything because I got to find my breath. I'm going to bend both knees. Pick the feet up, circle the ankles. And then just windshield wiper your feet from side to side. Come back to the center. Feet ground down, hands come in under your shoulders. Cobra or upward dog is up to you. Feeling the breath, the connection. Big full breath in, big full breath out. Wherever you are, you're going to slowly come back down to the earth. And then you're going to inhale, roll up again. Cobra or upward dog. You can always alternate. Gecko cobra is fine too. Enjoying the breath. And then exhaling, melting down. How did you know? Yes, we're going to do 8. Inhale, coming up, opening up. And using the whole breath to rise up. Feeling each time you come, not so much the need to accomplish, but feel a renewal each time. So this next set of 4, you might find that you need to shift. You might find your volume rising. What we want to do is to lean into the vitality and almost surrender to our own brilliant nature. Last one. Inhale, rising up. And exhaling, melting down. Coming back to pillowing. Breathing into the beat of your own heart. Expanding into the back body. But feeling held and supported. Gonna bend both knees, windshield wiper your feet from side to side. Come back through the center, hands reach for the feet, shoulders draw into the back. 8 breaths in your version of Dhanurasana. So it doesn't have to be big or huge. You could even do Shalabhasana, right, where you're not holding onto the feet. Find the one that resonates for you. Exhale, melt down, but this time you're going to roll over onto your back. All right? As you come onto your back, come to the earth, find your feet, fix your hair, find your feet on the ground, arms up from the shoulders, exhale your knees over to the right, 4 breaths here. Ideally, you're breathing into the back body. You're coming back to the horizontal lines, right? And the vertical. Inhale the knees to the center and then over to the left. 4 breaths here. Exhale out, inhale, come back to the center, knees come to the chest, left ankle over top of the right thigh. So maybe you needed to keep your right foot down and bring your left ankle You're going to rock from side to side or be nice and steady in the center. Feel that connection. So I have a pattern of when I come lying down, my ribs flare out a lot. So keep holding the lower rib cage in. Contain that flame. Contain the fire. Contain your brilliance because you're just in this place of restoring. And then exhale the right foot down, stretch the left leg up, and then we're going to go into that half happy baby, okay? Because we haven't done anything for the inner thigh. You might even want to extend the leg completely straight, so it's that extended hand to foot pose. Just keep the right back rib cage towards the ground. It usually pulls up. Inhale, come back through the center. I'm just going to do it. It may not work for me on the other side. Bend the elbows so one foot's off the ground. You're going to draw the shoulders into the back. If both feet need to connect, actually, let's just do this. Both feet to the ground. Inhale into that bridge pose. Draw into the center. Feel the connection to the breath, expanding into the back body. Throat's open. And then we'll switch it. Bring the left foot in. Draw in. Right foot's going to rise up. Bring the hips down. Right ankle, right thigh. Left knee into the chest. It's a little fancy transition. It's not necessary. It's not necessary. But what is necessary is listening to the conversation within. I'm offering a guide, a contemplation, a point of reflection. You cultivate the compassion and empathy with yourself and make the connection to you, and then you'll confidently choose where you're supposed to go. Maybe rock, maybe not. And it's okay if one side needed more than the other or something different. Exhale the left foot down, half happy baby. Okay, so just start with half happy baby. Listen to your body. Okay, so this is the contemplative part. What are you leaning into? Hopefully leaning into compassion, making that connection. And if it's accessible to you, extend the leg out. Right, so we've done stuff for the hamstrings, the outer hips, and the quads. Not so much the inner thighs, so realize that. That's where the compassion is. That's where the understanding. You're empathizing with your inseams. Self-empathy is essential. Self-empathy. Empathy with yourself. That's where the confidence comes from. And then inhale, bring the leg back to the center. So shoulders to the back, draw in. I had thought about going and rising up into a one-legged bridge, but I'm not. Both feet to the ground. Inhale, lifting, neutralizing, coming back. Feeling the ribs in. Usually people just flare out here, throats open. And then walk the right foot into the midline. Left leg's gonna rise, or maybe not. Lower both hips to the ground. Left ankle to the right thigh, knee comes in. So, recline pigeon pose. Hands come back behind the head, lift up. You can thread under, or you can hook around. I'm hooking around just because I don't want to pull in too far, and come into that reclined pigeon. So we're flying just upside down. Big, gracious breath in, really pull into the core. I can also see how misaligned I am. And when I say misaligned, what I just realized is that in that discomfort in my back, that there is just a bigger awareness of how off my center I am. And now it feels better. It's harder, but it feels better. Isn't that weird? It's harder, but it feels better. That's probably part of my problem. To make everything harder. Come back down to the earth, foot to the ground. Left leg rises. This time, hand back behind the leg and stretch the right leg long. So now we're in a bigger. You could, if you're in the mood to do this version where your head comes up, great. I am not. Or maybe that's what I need. I don't know. Stay curious, lean into just that sort of mystery, right? Don't get so fixated that you miss out on the energy that's available to you. And then bend the knee, both knees come in, right ankle goes to the thigh, left leg lifts. Okay, so here we are again. You're gonna draw in, rise up, reclined flying pigeon. I don't know, if you know the name of it, tell me. Stretch out. Some things don't have names, right? And then rise up. So last week I was talking about holding space, right? That slower moving is creating that space. So I'm still creating the space for myself and creating the healing that is needed through this line here, wrapping back. Grounding the energy of my heart, right? We just had to break, I had to break the spell, the curse, and release it. And then exhale, the knee bends, come back in, head rests, leg goes to the sky, hold on to the calf or the hamstring, stretch the left leg out, and again, you can come here, right? Or stay here. It's in as you exhale. Bend the knee, both knees come in. Both knees come in, give yourself a hug. Rock from side to side. Feel the movement that you need. This is a movement that came to me with this most recent pain. Some of you asked me where I come up with some of this stuff. It's literally from the contraction. So my knees are going wide, feet are together. Then my knees circle around. It's kind of like a play on Pilates, if you've ever done that frog move. Then your knees come in. You're really internally rotating. So it may be too complicated. It's kind of like making figure eight with your knees, right? The two circles. It's just an internal and external, and then you're going to reverse the direction. Finding space for my hips is just really important right now. All right, that may just be too complicated for you. If it is, lean into the fact that the universe is complicated, so therefore you are complicated, and therefore I will bring complex things forward. Both feet to the ground, check in. You're either going to do bridge pose or wheel pose, okay? Or you're going to go bridge, wheel, bridge. It's really up to you. And when I say bridge, wheel, bridge, it means we go into bridge pose, then we go into wheel pose, and then we come back to bridge pose. So finding the one, this is a way to assess what the relationship is inside with your whole self, and not just based on what A, I'm dictating, or B, your mind, your ego is saying, and rather leaning into your brain and your whole neurobiological self and the way you feel on the inside and what's being presented outside. So ground in, find bridge, enjoying your breath. Maybe hands come back, right? I'm in a total place of curiosity right now. I'm leaning into the fact that I do know my body. I do know this pose. And I do know that it may or may not be accessible to me, but something's telling me it's what I need. So I'm also listening to that. If you go in, enjoy, breathe into it, but also come back into bridge, okay? So that's our resilient nature, right? But the resilience is from an established pattern that is in that seed, that's in that radaya. If you went to wheel, you're back in bridge, maybe you left bridge, you came back to bridge, and that seed is what contains the potential and the opportunity of being you. Slowly come back down to the earth. I'm being very clear, very mindful, incredibly intentional. Pause and feel the power of your breath. I'm taking a little extra pause, going into the place where energy has been trapped for many, many, many years. It's actually even energy that I inherited. And then where you are and as you are, we're going to roll over to our belly. So much fun today, right? Such a air and fire kind of day. Be warned, Mars is in Leo. Mars is in fire. My Mars is in Leo. I'm about to have my Mars return, and I'm excited. It's perfectly timed. Come back down to the earth. You're going to do either, let's do this. 2 geckos. Actually do 3 geckos. Hands go wide, elbows lift. Inhale, rise. Exhale, bow. I just want you to remember the options. Inhale, rise. Exhale, bow. Hands come back by your side. 2 Shalabhasanas. Inhale, rise. Exhale, bow. Inhale, rise. Exhale, bow. Hands under your shoulders. 2 cobras. Inhale, rise. Exhale, bow. Inhale, rise. Exhale, bow. Now, maybe you want to do 2 Dhanurasanas. I'm going to go for 2 upward dogs. Inhale, rise. And exhale, bow. Inhale, rise. Exhale, bow. Hands under your shoulders. Knees push to the earth. Push up and back into downward facing dog. Feel connected to the breath. Enjoy the connection to you. There's a reason we haven't done any poses in the Warrior 2 family. It's because I am your leader today. I am your faithful guide on this journey of the mat. And when there's instability in the sacrum, I tend to stay away from the Warrior 2 family. Just saying. Step your feet in a little closer. Okay, so you have a much more shallow dog. My heels will come to the floor. It's really so we can get more connection to the core and a lot more stability. Right hand's gonna reach over to the outside of your right shin. You gotta pull into the left waistline. You can peek under. Just feeling the play of your foundation, the sustenance of your strength. And then return the left hand. Then we'll move to the right side, 4 breaths. It's just a twist. Walk both hands down, lift your heels. You're gonna come forward. Heels come together, heels lift, knees come down. Right hand comes off to the side, knees tip forward. Inhale the left arm up. Exhale the left elbow down. So, if you know how to do the arm balance, go for it. Left elbow comes down, arms go wide, drawn to your core. That's as far as I need to go. My feet are gonna stay on the floor, but I'm still building strength. Come back to the center. Inhale the left arm up. Reach over. Right arm goes up. Find that length. Right? Really create the space here. Exhale, elbow comes down. Right? Arms go wide. Lean forward. How about that? Okay, go into it on this side, but I'm not going to. Feel the breath. Feel the connection. Stay with it. And then come back. Come back to the center. And we're going to come seated. Once you come seated, feet come to the earth. Rock from hip to hip. Pause to offer just up so much gratitude, right? And just reclaiming the fire within. Leaning into into that strength. And those dark crevices of discomfort are no fun. So you got to remember your resilience. Come seated. So you may want to do foot to the inner thigh and a half forward bend. I do not. I want to keep my legs parallel, okay? You may want to do head to knee pose, bringing the foot in and opening more out to the side. We're going to go for 8 breaths. So if you do one side, then you're going to do it for 4 breaths on one side and then switch and 4 breaths on the other side. I'm going to go into Paschimottanasana, into the forward bend. Right, there's the duality. So while we're in the energy of rising up to a full moon, the full moon is going to be in Capricorn. That has nothing to do with the Gemini lunation, except for it's the lunation of this new moon to full moon. It's kind of confusing and complicated, but remember the universe is complicated. So we're actually we're beginning a cycle, right? This is the duality, but we're also closing the cycle. And that just might not make any sense unless you follow the heavens. Okay, now I'm going to go into a twisted forward bend. You go into the version for you, 4 breaths on each side. Exhale out completely. Find length. And if you need to switch sides, okay? I know I'm not really teaching this to you. Sorry. I'm being selfish right now, but you know, you gotta listen. You gotta listen. You gotta integrate. You gotta receive what you know, your wisdom, your experience, understanding of you. I just put myself out there and try to be transparent to help you. Exhale out completely. Inhaling, finding length. Rise up. Here we are at our seats. Come into the seat that serves you. Thank goodness. My kids play with my blocks. They're both here. Come into a seat that serves you. Find a length through both sides. You can also do this lying down. Find a length through both sides. Right, so I'm not cheating. I'm adoring the support that's available to me and leaning in to that knowledge of both how to prep up, how to support myself, and how to work with my really long limbs. So I have blocks under my knees and my elbows are on my knees and my hands are interlaced. So remember this mudra, the Varja mudra, the lightning bolt mudra. It's because of our nervous system and the warmth that we can actually tend to those parts and pieces of ourselves that really are incredibly vulnerable. I am being here and giving myself the space, but my hands are still in that mudra. They're just further away from my heart and more in front of that point of the solar plexus and the Anahata chakra is powerful and potent right now. For me, maybe you. And just engaging with that Ujjayi breath. Feel the triumph of your vitality, of your brilliance. That there's victory not in overcoming, but rather in remembering. See if you can breathe into the four corners of the heart, the front, the back, the two sides. See if you can breathe on all of the angles and the points that come to you. Enjoy a deep breath in and a cleansing breath out. You're just going to slowly come lying down. Keeping your eyes closed, if possible. Feeling the support where the support is needed and leaning in to your own strength, surrendering. Lean in and surrender. Be vulnerable. If you can't be vulnerable with yourself in the space of your own home, it's going to be hard to be vulnerable out in the world. And vulnerability is the power of remembering rather than trying to produce, to be seen, to validate. There's nothing wrong with wanting validation. And we all need to be seen. We need to be seen by our own two gracious eyes as well. So allow for the wisdom of the way your angels see you, the way they support you and guide you. And stay open to receiving that guidance in that non-linear fashion. It's not going to come via an email or a Google search or a letter or a package. Or maybe it will. It's going to be transmitted and transmuted through the breath, through our eyes, our ears, the flavor of our experience, and the way we feel. Feel yourself just as you are. The system of you, inward and outward. That you belong in. You are a citizen of the earth. Sharing in the sacred breath. collective consciousness and the collective unconscious. Allow for the movement to reawaken you just as you are. Breathing into the depth of who you are. I do not do as I do, unless you need to, but my being must come seated this way, without jolting. And as you come seated, we're being asked to change our patterns. We're being asked to restructure. We're being asked to review. We're also being asked to remember. Remember your heart's desire. Remember your soul's light, your soul's brilliance. Lean in to the journey of your own evolution, surrendering and allowing that light to guide you. The sun will rise, it will also set, and it will also rise again. But really, it's steady. Its light is steady. It is fixed in the sky, and we dance and revolve around it. So lean into that magnificence. Lean into the fact that you belong to something so much bigger and so much greater. And we are all deeply woven into the fabric of the universe because we are all made of the same ingredients. May your vitality continue to guide you in the direction that's aligned with your highest self. And those moments where it feels contracted or hidden, whether it's mentally, physically, emotionally, or even spiritually, that you can receive the tiniest little sliver of hope, of compassion, and that you can breathe into that depth to return again with gratitude, joy, and love. And so it is, from my heart to yours. May we continue to lean into the truth of our essence and also understand the space in between each of us is different, that we can connect with more compassion because we've given ourselves time to pause and contemplate. And that contemplation can restore our confidence and our connection. Straight from my heart to yours. Namaste. And so it is, unto. We go with that light. And unto you. May that light guide you. So I thank you. You will probably know where my hair tie is. I do not. It's hiding. It's on me. Okay. I appreciate you, however this finds you. And thank you for journeying with me. And I hope it is still recording. And I was wrong. I only had a phone call, and I can't stop that. So be well and be true. And be exactly who you are. And the beautiful thing is, the more you do practices like this, there is a depth, and a depth even to the discomfort that can rise, but the glory and the beauty becomes so much more expansive. Thank you for being here.